Recently, I completed a black and white piece of art and I thought it was really cute. I don't normally work in black and white outside of something like Inktober. So it got me thinking, how much does color affect a piece of artwork? And we're gonna see what the same drawing looks like in cool colors, warm colors, black and white, and a bunch of colors. Now that we've got our colors, let's get to sketching. For this experiment, I'm going to be drawing the same drawing 4 times and coloring it different ways like I mentioned. And what better specimen than my original character, Hatch? Hatch is originally blue, so they're already in a sort of cool colored palette. But like I said, I'm very curious to see what a warm colored Hatch, a black and white Hatch, and just really going for it and having crazy colors Hatch looks like. Also, yes, I'll admit I haven't drawn Hatch in a while, so maybe I just want to draw them, okay? So I've got this sort of basic fun pose, but I thought it would also be really fun to include balloons in their hand so that we could showcase the colors we're using. I thought it would be fun. So the balloons in the cool one could be shades of blue and purple and something else. Warm could be red, orange, yellow. Black and white, shades of grays. And multicolor could be really fun because we can do red, yellow, and blue. So going into these pieces, I was thinking drawing the same thing 4 times. Obviously, I'm a human, it's not gonna be perfect, but it could be fun to see the difference in each of these drawings as I draw them 4 times. And then my big smooth brain remembered that I have a light box that I haven't used in probably over a year. So you know I busted that sucker out and I just traced the original drawing. And there you go. I've got 4 nearly identical drawings of Hatch ready to go and ready to be colored. So with that, let's start off with our original blue Hatch because that's the way God intended Hatch to be. And by blue Hatch, I do mean our cool color Hatch. I did try to incorporate more colors than just blue, but we'll see. So going into this illustration, I'm using the 60 pack of Pitt Artist pen brushes by Faber-Castell. And I have used these brushes, I think once in the past, a video about a year ago. And I definitely feel like these personally are more used for sketching. They're really hard to get a nice smooth wash of color, which is something I like in my illustrations. So I do try my best to just ignore the streakiness, and I definitely overwork the paper, and there's a lot of pilling and paper abuse in this video, so please ignore that. Otherwise, I attempted to use more than just my classic Hatch colors. I tried to be a little bit more adventurous when it came to the purples with the shading and other aspects like line art. But at the end of the day, I think I was just like, yeah, Hatch. Blue, dark blue for shading. I'll mix in some purple because I do use purple for shading. But otherwise, it is definitely just Hatch. But to be fair, Hatch is just cool colors. When it came to the line art of this piece, I avoided using blacks. I didn't want to use any black because black wasn't a cool color and I wanted to make this a colorful piece. And I did focus on choosing a dark version of all the colors. For example, on the white pieces, I chose the shading color, which was this very light purple. It definitely doesn't create a hard line art, but it does create a colorful line art and one that does help, I guess, suggest that there is a lighter part of the character. I think it's fun. It definitely adds more color than just lining with black, absolutely. And as you guys know, if you've been watching my videos lately, I have been trying to incorporate more colorful line art in my pieces. I do think it creates more vibrant, fun illustrations. No shade to the black line art, but when you create line art using colors, it's just more fun. Especially when it came to the balloons, creating a line art that was just slightly darker than the balloons really helped with the transparency, the lightness of the balloon. I chose a light blue-gray, a light purple, and a brighter light blue for the balloons. They look like balloons. Overall, this is definitely Hatch. The cool color palette was perfect, and this is sort of like our control piece for the rest of these, so yep. Oh, also, I did use these brush pens to line art with. Like I said, I usually use a black Sakura Micron pen, but Sakura Micron pens only come in so many colors, and just using these Faber-Castell Pitt pens, I was able to create a more colorful line art, which definitely helped with this experiment. So yeah, there we go. It's our first piece done. Moving on to our warm colored hatch, I did have a vague idea of how I wanted to approach this one, but I also sort of kind of went off of that. So when you think of our original hatch has a light blue body and a very dark blue and white striped tail. So you would obviously think a light red or pink body and a dark red tail. But because this piece is a warm colored hatch and not necessarily a red version of hatch, I wanted to incorporate more oranges and yellows into this piece and not just create a red version of hatch. So to do that, I created obviously a light red or a pink body, a very dark reddy, violety nose and eyes. And for the tail, I went a orangey yellow color. You would think, okay, a dark red or purple for the tail, but I don't know. Where else was I going to put a yellow or orange in this piece but the tail? Okay, now that I think about it, I probably should have just made hatch a yellow orangey body with a red tail. But you know what? This is a fun swap. I had fun with it. Honestly, I think it's really fun. I don't hate it. Obviously, a dark red or purple would be more accurate towards Hatch's design, but like I said, I wanted to incorporate different colors in this piece and just embrace the warmth of everything. It is interesting to see Hatch with a less dark tail, and I think it's fun. They're looking quite fiery, and in this way, it does avoid, and this was my fear, when I think of color swapping a character, I always think creating the stereotypical female version or love interest of a character. Think Lilo and Stitch. Stitch had this love interest introduced, which was basically a pink version of Stitch with intended boobs, eyelashes, and hair. So I didn't want this to just be a pink or feminine version of Hatch, so I think I achieved that with the yellow tail. I've been talking a lot about this yellow tail. I will say when it came to line arting, it was a little bit more difficult. Previously, we used a darker light purple to line art the white, but the shading color I used for the white of the tail was so light, I did have to end up using a different color, which is fine. I think it ended up looking really good. It's warm, it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh. I love the balloons. Hatch on fire, let's go. Moving on to our black and white hatch, which obviously, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, was the main inspiration for this video. And I was definitely super duper looking forward to, I might be in a black and white phase right now. I don't see myself creating a bunch of black and white art just because I do find it, as fun as it is, it does kind of end up kind of boring after a while, but I was looking forward to creating a black and white Hatch, and I do have something to admit. Hatch's original design was actually black and white. I designed Hatch to be a sort of retro character design. Think Mickey Mouse with the tugboat Willie or whatever situation. Hatch's eyes were stylized to be an old classic Disney style. Their proportions were definitely very weird and noodly and bulky and strange. I wanted Hatch to be kind of weird looking, but over time, Hatch has become this really cute, silly, thick character that we all know and love today. Mainly, the push to sort of redesign Hatch was because of my senior project in college. I wanted to sneak Hatch into my final design course, and that meant adding color and sort of changing their design a little bit to be more appealing towards children. And I'm not even mad about it. Hatch's old design, look, it was very weird. I'll show you guys one day, but for now, you just get this very classic looking Hatch in black and white. It was so perfect. This version in this video is probably my favorite. Don't get me wrong, I love blue Hatch, but like I said, I think I'm just in a very black and white phase right now. It just looks so sleek and simple and fun and crisp. I love it. What's there to say? I also just love the balloons. I don't know. I love black and white right now. Let's go. And last but not least, we have our toughest challenge of this video, our multicolored hatch. I had absolutely no plan for this piece. So much so that I started in a different area than the other ones. If you didn't notice, I always started with Hatch's head. However, with this piece, I started with the only thing I knew how to color, the balloons. I mentioned early on when I was sketching that I knew I wanted the balloons on this piece to be the red, yellow, and blue together, creating orange and green in between. You know, just to be super colorful because that was the theme of our final piece. But aside from that, I had no idea what I was going to do. I did plan this piece out a little bit digitally, but the farthest I got was the tail, and I really broke out of Hatch's classic design of color white, color white, color white, and I just went full on color. In fact, I went rainbow, and I don't really like rainbow designs. Hatch definitely looks like a sparkle dog in this piece. But I knew I wanted this piece to be obnoxiously colorful, so that's what I went for. When I got to their body though, I had no idea what to do. I tried yellow. I did want to avoid blue and red because I used those in our previous pieces. Green just seemed weird. I did want to create super colorful and crazy line art, but I don't know. I think maybe I was just so out of my comfort zone that I panicked and I resorted to black line art. Womp womp. I think in my mind, I thought this piece was already so colorful enough with that rainbow tail that I couldn't stomach any more obnoxious colors. So I resorted to black line art thinking that the piece could speak for itself, but I kind of feel like that it would have benefited from weird random colors in the line art. For some reason, as you can already see, I defaulted to Hatch being a weirdly skin toned color and then made the cheeks and stomach a pinkish red. I was also thinking about creating freckles and other skin-like pieces to the skin when I also realized that Hatch is a sewn stuffed animal character, and that would be very weird if it was skin that was sewn together. It's like I couldn't pick a lane. Did I want this to be a super colorful plushie, or did I want this to be a weird horror character that was sewn together skin? I don't know. This was just so far out of my comfort zone that my brain couldn't even pick a lane. It was a weird one. Sabotaged by black ink, there is our final piece. I do like the balloons though. So there are all 4 of our final pieces: cool, warm, black and white, and multicolored hatches. Let me know in the comments which version is your favorite. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and an even bigger thank you to my patrons for their support. You guys are the best. If you want early access to these videos, secret sketches, live streams, and more, check out the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!